this is Alison from Boomerang Pilates and Functional Movement, and today we're going to talk about getting into some quad tension. So we're going to start with yoga tune-up balls, and you can either just roll them using your hand if your legs are a little more sensitive, or you can put them on the floor horizontally and roll the length of your quad. You can either go in small segments, sort of 2 or 3 inches at a time, or you can go for the full length of the quad. Make sure that regardless of what style you're doing, hand, small roll, or long roll, you get into all 4 of your quadricep muscles, which means turning your leg in a little bit and turning your leg out a little bit so that you get the various different components of your quadriceps. And you want to make sure, of course, that you do both legs, making sure that your super convenient clothing doesn't get caught up. You can take the other leg out to the side, makes it a little bit more convenient. And certainly one leg can be different from the other. If you find that it's too sensitive on one side, you could change over for a different style of rolling to make sure that it doesn't hurt too much. You are in charge of your own sensation for this. It should feel like it's positive and beneficial and not too uncomfortable. And you're going to grab a yoga strap or a belt or a tie or something that is going to give you some support. Put that around your ankle. Lie yourself down. If you have a fair bit of mobility, you can bring that strap over your shoulder. If you're really tight, you're going to hold on behind you. You're going to make sure that your pelvis is nice and... I'm completely caught in my yoga strap. Here we go. You want to make sure that your pelvis is nice and heavy to the floor, that your butt's not pulling up towards the ceiling. And you can choose whether you want to have your body upright, or if that feels too tight, you can lie down more. You're going to flex your foot at the ankle. You're going to make sure that your legs are hip distance apart and parallel. And then you're going to bring your leg in only as far as you can go, maintaining that heavy front of the thigh. As soon as you feel like you're rolling or twisting, you need to take your leg down a little bit. Of course, you don't want to go to a point where you have any pain in your back. Even if you're not feeling a big stretch in the front of your thigh, if you're starting to feel pinching or discomfort in through your lower back, then please take your leg down a little bit. I have quite a lot of mobility. If you're really tight in your thighs, you might be more down here, right? In which case, you're going to have a harder time holding onto your strap. But you need to stay in what is your effective range, wherever that might be. And it could certainly be quite different from one side to the other. So let's try and see what the other side does. Getting the strap organized is the hardest part of this, I think. So you do the same thing. Get your pelvis and your legs really nicely weighted down onto the floor. Try not to let your leg pull out to the side. That's one of the ways of kind of bypassing the thigh. Keep it nice and heavy. Keep the foot flexed at the ankle. And then choose whether the hand over the shoulder is a better choice for you, or whether something that's further down is going to be better for you, and it could certainly be different from one side to the other. From here, instead of doing the passive position, you're now going to add a pressure. So we're going to work the thigh, but we're going to work it in its long form. Again, this should not generate any pain anywhere, not in your neck, not in your shoulders, not in your back. It shouldn't make your butt come up or your knee pull out to the side. You're just generating a little push of your ankle into the yoga strap, which should theoretically activate your thigh. And we're going to just give it a little bit of a strength lengthening. And then you release. And you go back to the other foot. Of course, your second time around doing this, once you know what the video includes, you could just do these both on the same side. You press. So you don't need to be really pulled in to do this. You might want to give it a little extra space between your heel and your pelvis. And you push your ankle into the strap to generate some work in the thigh. You want to keep your pelvis heavy to the floor. You want to keep your ribs nice and stable so you're not super dumping or pulling into your neck. And you press. And you just hold. You just hold that press for anywhere from 30 seconds to 60 seconds. You may find you fatigue faster checking with the other leg, make sure it's not gripping. And then you slide out of that. Grab a half dome or a rolled up towel. Place that under your pelvis so that your pubic bones are anchoring towards the floor and your hip bones are lifted. So if you can see the half dome is nice and blue, so you can see it here. It's on an angle. Same thing if you have a towel, you would want the butt side of the towel to be crushed down lower than the rib side of the towel. And then you want to get your arms pressing down into the floor and your rib cage lifting slightly so that you're nice and stable. And you're going to just hang out here for, again, sort of between 30 and 60 seconds, letting the fronts of your hips open up. Your legs should be relaxed, your glutes are relaxed. This is a release position rather than a working active position. Do make sure that you've got that support for your upper body so that you're not straining anything in your neck. You could let your head drop down if you want. And then we're going to add a pull of the leg up. You're going to keep your foot flexed at the ankle. And again, there should be no shifting of your body or your pelvis. So you come up only as high as you can go, keeping the other leg relaxed, keeping the legs parallel, and keeping the rest of the body nice and stable. And shockingly, you're going to try and do this for about a minute. Don't go too fast. You can end up really using momentum to pull past your really good working range. So just at your own pace, going slower than faster, and then shift over. Same thing, other side. This can be so different from one side to the other. So make sure that you're not just going to the same height automatically. If that means that you need to twist or lift to lift your pelvis, and you pull and release, and pull and release. It's not about getting your heel to your butt, it's about keeping your thigh bones nice and heavy down towards the floor. Clearly there's a bit of space, right, between your thigh bones and the floor, but your pubic bones should be anchored down or pretty darn close to it. One more like that. And then we're going to stand up and do a runner stretch, at which point I think you will only be able to see part of me. Looking out for cheats with the runner stretch. This guy, pulling the leg out to the side, using momentum. This guy, where the ribs come forward and the leg travels way too far back. Or this guy, where the knee comes too far forward. Oh, or this one, where you hang onto your foot. So we're going to do a very precise version of a runner stretch with, again, a strap or a belt or something that you can use to support you. So you put the strap around your ankle, not your foot. Get your legs nice and strong, or your one standing leg strong and vertical, and then line up your thigh bones so that your knee is pointing down towards the floor and your legs are level with each other. Flex the ankle, strong through the standing leg, and think about not coming out to here. So you want to aim down, and ideally your pelvis is level, your hip bones are level, so you're not pulling up into your waist on this side. And then you can change over and do the same thing on the other side. So, balance work, yay. Find that stable pelvis. Flex the ankle. Get your thighs vertical and level with each other. So if your knee comes way forward, you're not getting much stretch into the front of the thigh. If your leg travels back but you tip, you're not getting much length right through the thigh. A couple of nice deep breaths here. Find that sense of weighting the knee down towards the floor. If you can weight the knee down towards the floor with nothing else shifting, then you could think about going back a little bit. But you don't need to go crazy with it. Especially if you tend to experience quad tension on a regular basis. And then we'll go for an active hamstring lift, hamstring curl. So you're going to stand on one foot, flex, level up the thighs, and then pull up slowly, only as far as you can go without having a hamstring cramp, but also without anything else moving. Right, so I'm trying not to get to this, again, either leg forward or leg back. Just a nice little lift, activates the calf, the hamstring, and the lower glutes, and provides, again, a lengthening. Change over to the other side, long and straight, get your butt over your heel, and pull up. This can be really different from one side to the other, so if you have a hamstring cramp on the one side, you may not have a hamstring cramp on the other. And then slide back down. So you can do that anytime you need to get a little bit of stretch and release into your quads after running or cycling or any other quad dominant activity. And feel free to come and join us anytime at Boomerang Pilates and Functional Movement. Take care.